There it is. That's where the magic happens. Hey guys, Ty here, and in this video, I wanted to sort of demystify this misconception out there that you need a lot of fancy equipment and a high-end recording studio to make good videos for YouTube. And as a newer creator, I certainly don't have any of that. And I wanted to give you guys like a behind the scenes, almost like a studio tour where I can show you my scenes, how I get set up, what equipment I use, and then how I manipulate my videos after the fact to make them look a little bit better. And so I'm going to show you two things today. I'm going to show you my kitchen recording scene that I just showed you right down here, and then I'll take you to the roof and I'll show you how I record up there as well. So let me bring you down into the kitchen area, and pardon any messes that you see along the way. So it's very Christmassy in here, so I'm really excited about that. But here it is. Here is our little, I don't know what you want to call it. It's almost like a breakfast nook area. It's right next to our kitchen. And yeah, there's a sofa in here. So don't ask. It's a long story. But basically, here's where I film. This table right here is where all of the magic happens. I've got my mic. I've got my camera, which is another iPhone. It's my partner's iPhone. And I figured I would just try and use two today to capture some more footage. But basically, here's the breakdown. What I'm recording on right now is my iPhone 15. I'm using the front-facing camera. I'm in 4K at 30 frames per second. I haven't done anything else in terms of the settings. What I have turned on, and I'll show you this here in a minute, is the grid and leveling feature so that I can kind of see where I fit. Where am I in frame? Am I off to the left? Am I off to the right? And am I level? So I have that turned on both devices so I can actually see where I am in the frame. And you can get away with 1080p depending on your content style. Like I think for a talking head video like this, 1080p is perfect. If you are doing things where you're more in motion and you're on the go, you might want a higher frame rate, like 50 frames per second. But I will just say, for anyone out there who's like, I don't know what my phone can even do, any iPhone from 2015 or newer can shoot in 4K. And any Samsung from 2013 or later can shoot in 4K. And then as far as cinematic, which is what you're seeing right now, where the background gets blurred, iPhone's model year 2021 and newer can do that, and Samsung's model year 2019 and newer can do that. It's called cinematic mode on the iPhone. I forget what it's called. I think it's like portrait video on Samsung. And it gives you that really nice blurred background. So take advantage because it's a really professional looking feature. So that's the video, right? It's just using your smartphone. Most of us have one, and most of us probably have one that can do cinematic and 4K. Now, the next thing is the audio. So that's where this guy comes in. This is my Shure MV7 Plus, and this guy connects via USB, and it's connecting right into my iPhone right here. I think you can see that. So that's pretty much it. It's just a quick USB connection from the mic to the iPhone. And when I'm doing my talking head videos here at the table, that's how my audio is picked up. Now, the one that I'm wearing right here, this little like lav mic, this is a wireless mic. It's connecting to a receiver on my iPhone right here. And this is good for when you're outside or on the go or you're not stationary. So that's why I'm using it right now. So those are the two mics, and I'll put links in the descriptions if you want to, learn more about those. Now, depending on what your price range is, there are a lot of nice and good quality lav mics that you can get. I'll put a secondary option down there for those who are maybe on more of a budget. But yeah, you don't really need a whole heck of a lot to get started, right? Just the phone and just the mic. Now, the third thing to call out is the lighting. And you'll notice here in my house, I have all of my ceiling lights on, which I normally never do. I only turn these on when I'm needing to like get a lot of light in here. But when I'm filming, I'm right next to these windows. As you can see, I've got a lot of windows in here. And this is south facing and this is west facing. So later in the day, I will get a lot of natural light in here. And of course, these blinds will diffuse that light for me. And that makes for a pretty good lighting situation in my scene. So I don't need a softbox or a key light right now. And actually, I don't even have a closed room recording studio set up here in my house. And that's why I kind of have to use this kitchen nook area that's connected to the rest of my living space. So I'm just working with what I have, right? I don't have a specialized room that has all my stuff set up. So the other thing I'll show you really quick is how I'm kind of keeping track of what I'm going to even talk about. So for a lot of my videos, I use my MacBook and I have all my notes right here. And honestly, it doesn't really work that well. So what I've started doing is I've started taking just chicken scratch hand notes of the things that I want to talk about, and I write them on a piece of paper. And then I'll put this paper like behind, behind my camera so that it doesn't look like I'm looking down all the time. I can kind of look past the camera and then I know what I'm talking about. So it just keeps me on track, make sure that I'm hitting all the points that I want to hit, and it lets me kind of riff on those topics instead of trying to memorize a script, which I will always screw up almost every time. So that's pretty much it. And if you look here, like this is the whole thing. This is the whole shebang of what I was supposed to talk about down here. So I hit the camera. One thing I missed is the stabilization. So thank you, notes. Here's the stabilization. Hopefully you can see that. This is my tripod. It's like a 63-inch tripod, and apologies if I'm shaking. And then it has this phone mount, this kind of like metallic phone mount that the phone sits in. I got these on Amazon. I'll put links in the description. But because I'm always using this scene at least twice a week, I just leave it here indefinitely. I never move it. And we don't really use this space all that much for other things. So it's good to just leave it. And then when I need it, plop the phone in, set the camera up, and I'm off to the races. So pretty easy setup and breakdown. And then let me look at my notes. So here's my tips. I think I mentioned the leveling and the grid. There, I've got some footage here that I'll show you of how to do it. It's actually really easy. You go into your camera settings, and then you turn on the toggle for both the grid and for the leveling feature. And you should be able to see your upper, your middle, and your lower third. And then you'll kind of know that you really, within your frame, you kind of want to be eye level with the line in the upper third. And that's how you're well positioned within the frame itself. And then the other thing too, and this is kind of almost a giveaway, is like the depth of field. So when I'm recording, it's nice to have something behind you to create that sense of space and depth within the frame. If you're just standing up against a wall, kind of like this, while you're recording, it probably it doesn't look all that great. So having something behind you, especially with that blurred background, will give your scene a little bit more polish and a little bit better of a feel on it. All right, so that's the kitchen, right? Not a whole lot going on. Let's go to the roof. All right, so we're on the roof, and there's some snow on the ground. So if I fall, I promise I'll keep it in the video. So let me show you the scene here up on the roof. Here's where I record when I'm riffing on the roof. Basically, this is it. This is my scene, right? I've got my little handy dandy tripod here. Again, an Amazon purchase. And then I've got my phone. And that's what the receiver looks like, by the way. That connects to this guy right here. So that's how the audio is getting picked up. And then as I mentioned, I used to bring my laptop up here, but I had a hard time just like following my own notes. So I just started handwriting them, putting them on the yellow paper, and that's what kind of kept me on track. But all in, right? Here's the whole shebang. That's it. Just stabilization, just the camera, the audio, and what I want to talk about. So really low frills, like nothing super exciting. Next thing we'll do is we'll talk about how I treat the video and the audio in my editing software. So I'll show you that right now. All right, so now we're in CapCut. We're on my computer, and I'm going to show you how I treat the clips that I've just recorded for both audio and video. So I'm going to pull in one of the 4 clips. We'll just grab this one up top here. And here's what that clip looks like. Now I'm going to make the track height tall, and I'm also going to show the waveform only. So here's, you can see the waveform, right? And you can see the highs and lows, and you can see the clipping. But let me show you what it looks like to treat the audio on this clip. So the first thing you want to do is highlight the clip like I've done, come over to audio on the top right, and then when you hit normalize loudness, you'll notice that the actual waveform changes slightly to level out the audio so that there's not a lot of dips and not a lot of highs. And it also reduced it in a way where it's not clipping as much. So those orange indicators at the top of the waveform indicates that it's clipping, which means it's distorting the audio. Now, the next thing I'll do is click on reduce noise, and that'll help pull out any artifacts that may have been picked up during recording. And then the third thing is enhanced voice. And when you mouse over that, you can see what it does. It'll look to remove echoes. It'll look to remove mouth clicks. Like I have a lot of those when I start talking. And what it'll do is it'll soften them or it'll remove them completely, which is amazing. And it'll also pull out some of that background noise. So once you click enhance voice, it's going to take a few minutes. It's going to do its thing. It's going to run through the whole clip and try to improve the audio. And so you just kind of want to leave it sitting here for a few minutes until it's done. Okay, so now that the audio is done, let me show you what it looks like to do some color adjustments for the video. So, depending on your filming situation, you may be in low light setting, you might be in optimal light setting, and you might have really good colors already on your video, and that's cool. But if you want to experiment, and then again, I think color adjusting is a little more of an advanced feature. So if you're new, don't worry about this. But you do have options within your video editing software to play with the colors. So first of all, if you have your clip selected, you can come over to adjustments on the top right. And here's where you can adjust a lot of the color settings for your video. So a lot of this stuff is defaulted to 0, but you can certainly play with it and you can see how much it can change the color in your clip. Now, of course, it's really easy to get carried away and a little bit goes a long way. So if you do play with any of these settings, make sure that you're not overdoing it. Alternatively, if you don't want to try and manipulate each setting by itself, you can come into filters and there's a lot of presets in here that you can use that apply specific color presets to your video. So you can see this Vivid 2 that I've just highlighted, it adds a lot of, looks like a lot of reds. And then on this one here, it's a little bit more muted. So you can kind of mouse over and see what the effect actually does. In some of my videos, I've used Clear 2, and you guys be the judge and tell me if this is actually improving or making the video worse. So here's what it might look like with, and here's without. So you can see there's a dramatic difference with and without. Now, of course, this is with the intensity pulled all the way up. That's not a good thing to have. So I would pull this setting down maybe 40, 50%. And then from there, you can kind of see, is it any better here versus here? So kind of like A/B test back and forth, see if it's improving the colors of the video. And if you like it, you can keep it. So really that's what I'm doing when I'm putting my clips into CapCut. I'm adjusting for the audio, I'm adjusting for the video and the colors, and that's pretty much it. And then from there, you just edit the video as you normally would. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. This really rough and raw kind of edit behind the scenes, whatever you want to call it, of how we're doing things here at my house. And as you can see, there's not a lot going on. It's real basic: phone, microphone, editing, and that's it. So if I can do it, you can do it. Let me know what questions you have. If there's anything holding you back, I would love to hear from you. If there's anything I can help you overcome, I'm happy to work with you. Send me an email, and looking forward to seeing what you guys produce. And if you need help, by the way, getting some basic video editing skills down, I did create a video. You can watch it right over here. It's the beginner's editing tips in CapCut. So if CapCut is a software that you're looking to explore, you'll also get a little bit acclimated in that video. So make sure to check it out, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.